The red star pulsed like a dying heart in the darkness of space. Its angry light painted everything crimson inside the metal station that floated nearby. The station was old and broken. Pieces of it had fallen away over the years, leaving sharp edges and twisted metal behind. Inside the station, Park Nari sat at her desk in the communication room. Her fingers moved slowly across the control panel. The buttons were worn smooth from years of use. Some of them did not work anymore. The screens in front of her flickered and showed strange colors that meant the machines were failing. "This is Station 7 of the Kethmori people," she spoke into the microphone. Her voice was tired. She had said these same words thousands of times. "We are the last ones alive. Our star is dying. Our machines are breaking. If someone can hear this message, please help us." She pressed the send button and watched the signal go out into empty space. No one had ever answered before. No one would answer today either. But she kept sending the message because Elder Kim Taiho told her to never stop trying. The door behind her opened with a soft hiss. Park Nari did not turn around. She knew it was Lee Minho, the engineer who fixed their broken machines. He came to see her every day at this time. "How much power is left?" he asked. He always asked the same question. "Maybe 2 days," she answered. "Maybe less." Lee Minho walked to the window and looked out at their dying star. "It looks angry today." Park Nari finally turned to look at him. Lee Minho was young for an engineer, but his hair was already turning gray. Everyone's hair was turning gray from worry and fear. "Elder Kim says we should keep sending messages until the end." "I know," Lee Minho said, "but what if the end comes before help arrives?" Through the walls, they could hear the sounds of people moving in the hallways. Their footsteps were quiet and careful. Everyone moved like they were trying not to wake someone who was sleeping, but they were really trying not to think about dying. Park Nari had grown up on this station. She had never seen a real planet with trees and oceans. Her grandmother used to tell her stories about their home world before it died. Green grass that moved in the wind, blue skies with white clouds, animals that ran and flew and swam in deep water. All of that was gone now. Their home world had burned when their star first started to die. The Kethmori people had built this station to survive. For many years, it had worked well. They had grown food in the growing rooms. They had recycled their air and water. Children had been born and learned to read and work with machines. But now, everything was breaking down. The growing rooms produced less food each year. The recycling machines made strange noises and stopped working. The walls had cracks that let in the cold of space. "How many people are left?" Park Nari asked. Lee Minho thought for a moment. "Maybe 300, maybe less. Some of the old ones died last week when the heating stopped working in Section 5. Park Nari felt sad when she thought about this. 300 people out of millions who had once lived in their star system. They were like the last drops of water in a broken cup. The communication machine made a beeping sound. Park Nari looked at the screen and saw that her message had finished sending. She started to prepare the next message. Her fingers knew exactly which buttons to press without looking. "Do you think we are alone in the universe?" she asked Lee Minho. He was quiet for a long time. "I used to think there must be others out there. People like us who built machines and traveled between stars. But we have been sending messages for so long. If anyone else existed, they would have answered by now." Park Nari nodded. This was what most people believed. The Kethmori had never found any sign of other thinking beings in all their years of space travel. They had found dead rocks and gas clouds in empty space, but no one who could build cities or write books or send messages back to them. The lights in the room flickered and went dim for a moment. Then they came back on, but not as bright as before. This happened more and more often now. Soon the lights would go out forever. "I should check the power systems," Lee Minho said. He put his hand on Park Nari's shoulder. "Keep sending the messages. Maybe someone will hear us." After he left, Park Nari sat alone in the quiet room. Outside the window, their red star pulsed and flared. Each pulse was like a countdown to the end of everything. She had heard Elder Kim Taiho say that the star might explode in just a few days. When that happened, their station would be destroyed in seconds. She looked at the communication machine and prepared to send another message. Her voice was small in the big, empty darkness of space, but she kept talking anyway. Somewhere far away. Maybe someone was listening. Maybe someone cared that the last Kethmori people were about to die alone. But deep in her heart, she did not really believe anyone would come. Park Nari's eyes opened slowly. She had fallen asleep at her work desk again. The communication room was cold and dark except for the small lights on her control panel. She looked at the clock and saw that she had been sleeping for 3 hours. Her neck hurt from sleeping in the chair. She stretched and rubbed her eyes. The power meter on her machine showed that they had less than 1 day of energy left. After that, the transmitter would go silent forever. She pressed the buttons to start sending another message. Her fingers were stiff and cold. The heating system had stopped working in this part of the station yesterday. Lee Minho had tried to fix it, but there were no spare parts left. "This is Station 7 of the Kethmori people," she began to say. But then something strange happened. The speakers next to her made a crackling sound. Not the usual empty noise of space, but a different kind of sound, like someone trying to talk through a broken radio. Park Nari stopped talking and listened carefully. The crackling got louder. Then she heard something that made her heart stop beating for a moment. A voice, a real voice, speaking words she could understand, but with a strange way of talking. We hear you," the voice said in broken Kethmori language. "Your message, ... We got it. We are coming to help you." Park Nari stared at the speakers. Her hands started shaking. She thought maybe she was dreaming, or maybe the lack of food was making her hear things that were not there. The voice came again, clearer this time. "This is ship called Endurance. Captain name is Choi Jin-woo. We heard your call for help. Do not give up. We are coming to you." Park Nari jumped up from her chair so fast that it fell over backward with a loud crash. She ran to the door and started screaming down the hallway. "Elder Kim, Lee Min-ho, everyone come quickly." Someone answered. "Someone is coming." Her voice echoed through the metal corridors. Doors opened, and people came running. Elder Kim Taiho arrived first, moving as fast as his old legs could carry him. His eyes were wide with surprise and hope. "What did you say?" he asked, breathing hard. "Listen." Park Nari ran back to her machine and turned up the volume. The voice was still there, repeating the same message. "We are Ship Endurance. Captain Choi Jin-woo. We received your emergency call. We are on our way to help. Please respond, if you can hear this." More people crowded into the small communication room. Dr. Song Yuna, who took care of sick people, pushed through the crowd. Her face was pale with shock. "Is this real? Are we really hearing another voice?" Lee Min-ho squeezed past everyone too. "Look at the control panel." "Park Nari, where is this signal coming from?" She worked quickly with the tracking equipment. Her hands were still shaking, but she forced them to be steady. "The signal is coming from inside our star system. They are close, very close." "How close?" Elder Kim asked. Park Nari checked the readings again to make sure. 3 days away. Maybe less if they are moving fast. The room exploded with noise as everyone started talking at once. Some people were crying with joy. Others were asking questions. Children who had squeezed into the room were asking their parents what was happening. Elder Kim raised his hand for quiet. "Park Nari, can you talk back to them?" She sat down at her machine and pressed the talk button. Her voice came out as a whisper at first. This is Park Nari of Station 7. We can hear you, Captain Choi Jin-woo. We are 300 people. Our star is dying. Our station is breaking. Please hurry. They waited in silence for an answer. The seconds felt like hours. Then the voice came back, and this time it sounded closer and clearer. Park Nari, we hear you clearly now. My ship has 4 people. We are humans from planet Earth. We have been traveling in space for many months. We will reach you in 2 days and 18 hours. Hold on. Help is coming. Dr. Song Yuna grabbed Elder Kim's arm. Did he say humans? From Earth? I have never heard of this species or this planet. Neither have I, Elder Kim said quietly. But they heard our call. They are coming to save us. Lee Minho was working at another control panel. Their ship. It shows up on our sensors now. It is small. Much smaller than I expected. How can 4 people in a small ship help 300 of us? Park Nari was listening to the signal from the human ship. The captain was talking again. Station 7, this is Captain Choi. We know our ship is small. We know the numbers are difficult. But we have never left anyone alone in space. We will find a way to save all of you. Trust us. Elder Kim wiped tears from his eyes. For the first time in years, he was crying from happiness instead of sadness. For all our lives, we thought we were alone in the universe. We thought no one else existed. Park Nari pressed the talk button again. Captain Choi, Jinwoo, thank you for hearing us. Thank you for coming. We will wait for you. Outside their window, the red star pulsed with angry light. But now it did not look as frightening as before. Help was coming through the darkness of space. They were no longer alone. The human ship looked nothing like what the Kethmori people had imagined. Park Nari pressed her face against the window in the docking bay and watched it come closer. The ship called Endurance was gray and square with scratches and dark spots on its surface. It looked old and used, not shiny and new like the ships in their old stories. Elder Kim Taiho stood beside her, his hands shaking with excitement and fear. It is so small, he whispered. How did they travel so far in such a small ship? The ship connected to their station with a loud clunking sound. Green lights appeared on the docking controls, which meant the connection was good. Lee Minho checked the air pressure readings and nodded to Elder Kim. The air is safe, he said. We can open the door. Park Nari watched as the metal door slid open with a hiss. 4 strange beings stepped through the doorway. They were about the same size as Kethmori people, but their skin was different and they had hair on their heads. They wore thick suits that covered their whole bodies. The one in front took off his helmet. He had dark hair and kind eyes. When he spoke, his words came through a small machine he held in his hand. I am Captain Choi Jinwoo, he said. The machine changed his words into Kethmori language, but his voice still sounded strange and wonderful. These are my crew members. Engineer Kim So-min, Dr. Han Ju-won, and Navigator Park Jun-ho. Elder Kim stepped forward and bowed his head the way his people always did when meeting someone important. I am Elder Kim Taiho, leader of the last Kethmori people. We are honored that you came so far to help us. Captain Choi smiled. Park Nari had never seen a smile quite like that before. It made his whole face look warm and friendly. We heard your call for help. On Earth, we have a saying, no one should face the dark alone. Engineer Kim So-min was looking around the docking bay with wide eyes. She was smaller than the captain and had long dark hair tied back. Your technology is very advanced, she said, through her translation machine. These metal walls are so smooth and strong. Dr. Song Yuna, who had been standing quietly behind Elder Kim, stepped forward. You said you are from Earth. We have never heard of this planet. How far did you travel to reach us? Dr. Han Ju-won, who seemed to be the one who took care of sick people like Dr. Song, answered her. About 40 light years. It took us many months to get here after we heard your message. Navigator Park Jun-ho was studying a small device in his hands. Captain, their star is very unstable. The readings show it could explode soon, maybe in days. The humans looked at each other with serious faces. Captain Choi walked over to the window where he could see the red star pulsing in the distance. How many people are on this station? 300, Elder Kim answered. Mostly families with children and old people like me. Engineer Kim So-min made a soft whistling sound. Captain, our ship can hold 12 people safely. Maybe 20, if we remove some equipment. But 300, we will find a way, Captain Choi said firmly. We did not come all this way to leave anyone behind. Lee Min-ho had been listening quietly, but now he spoke up. Your ship is very small, compared to ours, but you traveled between stars. How is this possible? The humans smiled at this question. Navigator Park Jun-ho showed them his device. We may not have the most beautiful ships, but we are good at making things work. We use every part of our ship for something useful. Dr. Han Ji-won was looking at some of the Kethmori people who had gathered to watch the first contact. You all look thin and tired. When did you last have enough food? Dr. Song Yuna sighed. Our food growing systems have been failing for months. We have been eating less so the children can eat more. Show us your station, Captain Choi said. Show us your machines and your problems. Maybe we can help each other. For the next few hours, the humans walked through the broken station with Elder Kim and the other leaders. Park Nari followed them, watching as the humans looked at everything with careful attention. Engineer Kim So-min crawled into small spaces to look at broken machines. She made notes on a small computer and talked quietly with Lee Min-ho about how things worked. Dr. Han Ji-won visited the medical center where sick people were lying on beds. She shared some medicine from her ship and showed Dr. Song Yuna new ways to help people feel better. Navigator Park Jun-ho studied their power systems and shook his head. You have maybe 18 hours before everything stops working. Captain Choi stood in the main control room looking out at their dying star. We need to get everyone off this station before that star explodes. But our ship cannot carry so many people the normal way. Then what can we do? Elder Kim asked. Captain Choi turned around and looked at all the worried faces around him. We do what humans do best. We find an impossible solution and make it work anyway. Park Nari felt hope growing in her chest like a warm light. These humans had traveled across the galaxy just because they heard people calling for help. Maybe they really could save everyone. The next 2 days became the busiest time Park Nari had ever seen on the station. Everyone was working together with the humans to do something that seemed impossible. The humans called it jury rigging, which meant making broken things work. In new ways. Engineer Kim So-min crawled through the small spaces inside the human ship with Lee Min-ho right behind her. They were pulling out wires and removing machines that were not needed for flying. Every piece of empty space had to be used to fit more people. Your air recycling system is amazing, Kim So-min said to Lee Min-ho as they worked. Sweat was running down her face even though the ship was cold. If we can connect it to our life support, we might be able to keep everyone alive during the trip. Lee Min-ho held a flashlight so she could see better in the dark corners. But your power system is different from ours. How can we make them work together? Kim So-min smiled and pulled out a handful of strange connectors from her tool bag. This is where human engineering gets creative. We make things fit even when they are not supposed to. In another part of the ship, Navigator Park Jun-ho was working with Dr. Sung Yuna to turn storage rooms into sleeping spaces. They were building special beds that would keep people safe if the ship had to turn or stop quickly. We will have to put most people to sleep during the trip, Dr. Song explained as she helped him move heavy boxes. Like a deep sleep, where the body uses less air and food. Park Jun-ho nodded as he measured the small room. On Earth, we call it hibernation. Bears do it in winter. But can your people survive sleeping that long? We have the medicine to do it safely, Dr. Song said. The question is whether your ship can carry the sleeping equipment. Meanwhile, Dr. Han Jiwon was in the medical center working with the Kethmori doctors to prepare everyone for the journey. She was teaching them about human medicine while learning about theirs. Your healing techniques are very good, she told Dr. Song Yuna's assistant. But some of your people are too weak for the stress of space travel. We need to make them stronger. First, the assistant, a young woman named Jo Haehoon, was carefully writing down everything the human doctor said. Will all the children be safe? Some of them have never been in a spaceship before. Dr. Han Jiwon looked at the children playing quietly in the corner of the medical room. Children are strong. They will do better than the adults, I think. Captain Choi Jin-woo spent most of his time in the station's control room with Elder Kim Tae-ho, watching their dying star get more and more dangerous. Every few hours, it would pulse brighter and send out waves of hot energy. How much time do we have? Elder Kim asked, as they watched another bright flare light up space. Captain Choi studied the readings on his small computer. My ship's computer says maybe 36 hours before the star explodes, but it could happen sooner. Park Nari was working at her communication station, helping to coordinate all the different work groups. She listened to reports coming in from all over the station. Section 3 is ready, came Lee Min-ho's voice through the speakers. We have connected the air systems. Medical team reports all hibernation equipment is loaded, said Dr. Song Yuna. Food and water supplies are secured in the ship, reported Navigator Park Junho. But even with all this work, Park Nari could see the worry on Captain Choi's face. She walked over to him during a quiet moment. Captain, what is wrong? She asked. He looked at her with tired eyes. Park Nari, I need to tell you the truth. My ship was built for 4 people on short trips near Earth. We are trying to make it carry 300 people across many light years. Even if everything works perfectly, it will be very dangerous. Park Nari felt scared, but she also felt brave. What are the chances that we will make it safely? Captain Choi was quiet for a long time. Maybe 50%, maybe less. And what are our chances if we stay here? 0%, he said immediately. Park Nari nodded. Then we take the chance. That night, the 4 humans met with Elder Kim and the other Kethmori leaders in the main meeting room. The walls were covered with drawings and plans, showing how they would fit everyone into the small ship. Engineer Kim So-min stood up to explain their plan. We have removed everything from our ship that is not needed for life support or flying. We have built sleeping spaces in every room, even the engine compartment. Navigator Park Junho continued, the trip to Earth will take about 4 months instead of the usual 3, because we will be moving slowly to save fuel and reduce stress. On the ship, Dr. Han Juan added, most people will sleep during the whole trip. Only a few will stay awake to help run the ship and watch the others. Captain Choi looked around the room at all the hopeful faces. I want everyone to understand, this is the most dangerous thing my ship has ever attempted. We might not make it, but if we do make it, you will have a new home on Earth where you can live and grow and be safe. Elder Kim stood up slowly. His old voice was strong when he spoke. Captain Choi Jinwoo, for generations we believed we were alone in the universe. You have already given us hope. Whatever happens now, we face it together. Outside the meeting room windows, their red star pulsed brighter than ever before. Time was running out. The ship Endurance moved slowly through space like a sick animal. Every part of it was working harder than it was meant to work. Strange noises came from the walls. The lights flickered on and off. Captain Choi Jinwoo had not slept well in months, because he was always listening for sounds that meant something was breaking. Park Nari was one of only 12 Kethmori people who stayed awake during the long trip. The others were sleeping in the special beds that kept them safe and used less air. She spent her days helping Navigator Park Junho watch the stars and making sure the sleeping people were okay. How much longer? She asked as she floated next to him in the control room. The ship's artificial gravity was turned off to save power, so everyone had to float around like they were swimming in air. Park Junho looked at his star maps and counted on his fingers. Maybe 2 more weeks if nothing breaks. Maybe longer if we have more problems. Through the front window, Park Nari could see a yellow star that was getting bigger every day. It looked so different from the angry red star that had been dying back home. This star was steady and warm and alive. "Is that your son?" she asked. "Yes," Park Junho said with a smile in his voice. "That is Seoul, and soon you will see Earth." Behind them, Engineer Kim So-min floated out of a maintenance tunnel with oil on her face and hands. "The recycling system is making weird sounds again," she said to Captain Choi. "I think it might stop working soon." Captain Choi rubbed his tired eyes. "Can you fix it?" "Maybe for a few more days. But we have been pushing everything too hard for too long. The ship is ready to fall apart." Dr. Han Juan came floating into the control room, carrying her medical bag. 3 more people woke up from their sleep early. Their bodies could not handle it anymore. And Elder Kim is having trouble breathing. Park Nari felt worry squeeze her chest like a cold hand. "Is he going to die?" "Not if I can help it," Dr. Han said firmly. "But we need to reach Earth soon." Captain Choi pressed buttons on his communication panel. "Earth Control, this is Captain Choi Jinwoo, on the ship Endurance. We are 2 weeks away from home. We have medical emergencies and ship problems. Please, send help." They waited for an answer. Space was so big that radio messages took time to travel, even inside their own star system. Finally, a voice came through the speakers. "Endurance, this is Earth Control. We have been watching for you. Medical ships and rescue teams are already on their way to meet you. Hold on just a little longer." Park Nari felt tears floating away from her eyes like little water bubbles. "They are coming to help us." Captain Choi smiled at her. "On Earth, when someone needs help, everyone comes running." Over the next few days, Park Nari watched amazing things happen outside their windows. First came the rescue ships, sleek and fast, carrying doctors and engineers who could fix their broken systems. Then came bigger ships that could carry some of the sleeping Kethmori people to safety. But the most amazing thing was when Earth itself came into view. Park Nari pressed her face against the window and stared at the beautiful blue and white ball, spinning slowly in space. "It looks like the stories my grandmother told me about our old world," she whispered. "Blue oceans and white clouds." Navigator Park Junho floated beside her, and green forests and brown mountains and cities full of people who want to meet you. "Look," Engineer Kim So-min called from another window. "Do you see that gray circle? Next to Earth. That is our moon. We call her Luna." Park Nari stared at the large gray moon. "It is so big. Does it ever fall down onto your planet?" "No," Kim So-min laughed. "It has been our friend for millions of years. It pulls on our oceans to make the tides. It lights up our nights with reflected sunlight." As their broken ship limped closer to Earth, more and more rescue vessels came to help them. Park Nari watched. Human doctors float through their ship, checking on the sleeping Kethmori people and helping them wake up safely. One of the doctors, a kind woman with gray hair, came to check on Elder Kim Taiho as he woke up from his long sleep. Park Nari held his hand while the doctor listened to his heart with our medical tools. "Where are we?" Elder Kim asked in a weak voice. "We are at Earth," Park Nari told him. "The humans brought us home." Elder Kim turned his head to look out the window at the blue planet below. Tears ran down his old cheeks. "It is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen." Captain Choi floated over to them. "Elder Kim, welcome to our solar system. In a few hours, you will be on a space station near Earth where you can rest and eat real food and breathe clean air." "Captain," Elder Kim said, "how can we ever thank you for saving us?" Captain Choi thought for a moment. "You do not need to thank us. We heard you calling in the dark, and we came. That is what people do for each other. Parknari looked out at Earth one more time. For so long, her people had been alone in the cold darkness of space. But now they had found something wonderful. They had found other people who cared about. Strangers and who would travel across the galaxy just to help. They were no longer alone. They were home.